Yo, what's happening, y'all? This is B Jizzle of the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Welcome to the #1 LA Clipper podcast out there. We want to first give you guys a shout out, LA Clipper fan, LA Clipper Nations, for being here. Share this podcast with your family and friends. They will not be disappointed, but let's get it popping.
Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers to throw away. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, They think I know the way. Cause I took control of things. Ballin' the solo way. And if you pattern my trend, I make you my protege. Crossing that soldier race. Niggas don't know them days. Take you in back of the buildings. Make you expose your rage. Take you across the tracks. Make you explode the face. Now you official now. But you got a soul to say. I just been cooking that new. I'm about to drop in the few. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth. I ain't really trip on the credit. I just paid all of my dues. I just respected the game. Now my name all in the news. Tripping on all of my moves. Quote me on this, got a lot more to prove. Remember I came in this bitch, fresh out the county with nothing to lose. Don't do this for nothing. No. Wanna count on you. But I don't do this shit for nothing. No, not at all. You, but my money red, that you do. Oh, yeah. So I don't do this shit for nothing.
Rolling up some good, pulling up till we get faded. You know how we do it. Everybody take a flex on me. I got the keys to the city. I don't need no limousine. I turn up when I pull up and tell my booking agent book a show. Running around with the paper bag, running around with the paper bag. Going crazy spending all this cash. Going crazy spending all this cash. If I spend it, I'ma get it back. Even when I ride around dirty, a nigga don't need a seatbelt. A nigga don't need a seatbelt. Nah, it don't cost to keep it real. Run up, get done up. Shit can get real. Fuck around and get your ass rocked. Nigga, fuck around and take your shit. Got you asking God why. Drag your ass into an alley. Pull out aim for the target. Should've never been around the killers. In my town, we the fucking realest. No cheddar bobs round here. I get the spray and they gon' get down. Ski mask over my face. Catch a body in broad day. Catch a body in broad day.
I got the key to the city. I got a hold of Shadidi. Talk to that bitch in Swahili. Tattoo my name in graffiti. Whack out your hood in graffiti. Come through your hood on the weekly. None of y'all niggas can't see me. None of y'all niggas can't see me. Y'all ain't got nothing like this over there. Bunch of frontline millionaires. Bunch of self-made at the Trump pay. Guess the odds really took it there. Any problem, I'ma reappear. With a squad you already fear. All this time I've been playing fair. 7 digits every single year. Niggas die, niggas disappear. Alibis, I was really there. Life a crime till I get the chair. Columbine in my trigger hair. Still I rise and I took the stairs. Feel a fire, it's a different glare. All these fights, it was never fair. Busting knuckles, still I'm swinging fears. Taste the salt inside my dripping tears. You should know I never had a fear. You should know I never had a shot, never had a chance till I took it here. Man, it's proud, but I see it clear. Strategize, I'm an engineer. Pick a side, gotta keep it there. Switching up, nigga, looking weird. I got the key to the city. I got a hold of Shadidi. Talk to that bitch in Swahili. Tattoo my name in graffiti. Whack out your hood in graffiti. Come through your hood on the weekly. None of y'all niggas can't see me. None of y'all niggas can't see me.
Hey,
Demar Derozan.
Go ahead, Steve.
It's good to see you, my brother. First of all, Molly and Doggy, y'all are sitting next to one of the best people you could ever meet in professional sports. Everybody loves this brother. It don't get much better than him right there as a person. Not to mention the fact you've been averaging over 24 a game over the last 3 years and shooting better than 48% from the field over the last 6 years. So major props to you. I want to know, however, when you talk about this book and when you reveal some of the troubles that you were going through, who in the NBA community was of great assistance to you? Because I know guys like Kevin Love and others have spoken out about this in the past, and Kevin Love is another class act. big time person as well. Who in the NBA community was of assistance to you during those times in any way?
I think I've been lucky to have some great teammates that was there for me from a brotherhood standpoint, that was there for me right away. You know, obviously, big shouts to Kevin Love, you know, coming out speaking his story. But so many guys just kind of, you know, came to me in a different sight outside of basketball. And the feeling I got
The Kings ain't dumb. They know they need somebody, Mr. Mid-Range himself. They just were smart. As far as I'm concerned, they got over because you deserve more than the money that you got paid. You gave them a gift. You deserve more than that. But having said that, I do have to ask you this, though, because I've been always tempted. I want to reveal this to Molly. I've said this in front of Molly before, not in front of Doggy. I want to know how you feel about this. One of the most painful moments in your career, I believe, I don't know, I never asked you this, was when you departed from Toronto because Masai brought in Kawhi Leonard. And I know they won the championship that year, but I've often said this. The kryptonite for the Toronto Raptors franchise at that particular moment in time was LeBron James, because y'all kept running into LeBron James. The year he arrived, LeBron James went to L.A. Right. So my attitude is, had DeMar DeRozan stayed there, he'd have been a champion with the Toronto Raptors. How do you feel about that once you hear something like that?
Yeah, and never, you know, to discredit those guys. I mean, they won it, they deserved it. You know, I finally had got to a point to where, you know, I was happy for them. But for sure, I definitely feel like that. You know, the only person we couldn't beat was LeBron. That's just what it was. And I felt off the year we had before, we just needed one more piece to kind of push us over the top. And that piece came to be LeBron going to the West. You know, and I didn't get an opportunity to see what would happen, but the utmost confidence within myself, I have no doubt in my mind the same outcome would have happened.
You've played for some interesting coaches, and you went to.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull-Up Show. I'm your host, Mr. BJ Matthews, a.k.a. BJ. Don't forget to start, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull-Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos. Hit that like button. Y'all come in here, hit the share, subscribe, hit that Cash App. $ Slick Rick, $ Slick Rick 1991 son. Make sure you guys continuously support the Pull Up Basketball Podcast through Cash App and Venmo. Venmo is at BJ/MATHEWS/1. Again, that's at BJ/MATHEWS/1. Reach us on Cash App, Venmo, or membership, or super stickers and super comments that are available. Very simple. All you guys got to do right there in that chat box in the bottom right hand corner, hit that $ symbol, and you guys can donate to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast at y'all discretion. You guys do not want to miss out what we have in store. Also, get your membership badges. Continues to get those. People that are members of the Pull Up Basketball Podcast are certain perks that we're able to give out to y'all, man. Make sure you guys continue to support the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, your favorite Clipper podcast out there, number one. Appreciate y'all. All right, so I know we started off a little bit different, you know, with the intro and everything like that, but I wanted to play that little clip because it's going to be attached to, you know, the title of the show, which y'all pretty much see on the screen. Basically, if you guys do not know, that was DeMar DeRozan of the now Sacramento Kings. He was moved there this free agency, signed with the Sacramento Kings this past summer. And he had some interesting comments when he came on to ESPN to speak to Mr. Stephen A. Smith. And also, you know, Molly Karam and Matt Dog Russo. Now, that small clip that you just y'all seen, y'all heard was basically DeMar DeRozan speaking upon himself, you know, with the Toronto Raptors. Now, first and foremost, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give, of course, you know, my thoughts about, you know, everything. But I wanted to play that first clip right before that Stephen A. Smith asked him that question about if he would have won a championship if he had stayed in Toronto. I wanted to play that small clip right before that because DeMar DeRozan, first off, let me say this about him. He's actually a person that, you know, I grew up watching. He's from LA, another LA born. He's from Compton. He's really from the heart of LA. When y'all, you know, outsiders who are not from California or not from, you know, LA County or whatever, understand that LA is a big spot. It's a big place. A lot of people live in LA. Second big, most populated city in the country. You got a lot of areas that you can depict it. But if you're not from, Southern California or LA, you ain't really been out here like that. You gotta know who's from where. And you know, famously, Compton is one of the spots that people look at LA is like, oh, that means you from out. That's where Demar Derozan from. Went to Compton High School. One of the LA products, went to USC. He's straight as LA as it can get. So I've always took a liking to LA, and based off of him and his life right now, from where he was before he got into the league, and even his early years in the league, speaking about his depression and things of that nature, it's really a honor to see him be at a spot now where he seems to be really content. He seems to be in a spot where he's very, very comfortable with him and his life. That's a good thing to see. He has a book that I probably will be purchasing down the line. So I wanted to play that clip because I want y'all to kind of hear, a little bit about, DeMar DeRozan as the person. But now that's out the way, we're going to get to the actual subject, and it's pertaining to DeMar DeRozan, his comments about him being able to, beat and win a championship after he got traded. And as y'all can see right here, move this out the way, it's a picture of him and LeBron, and that's the caption. He said the only person we couldn't beat was LeBron. Now, this subject has came up multiple times since 2019 when he was moved to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard. Now, we all know Kawhi Leonard won a championship the year after in Toronto, and he was able to win also something that Toronto's never won, was a championship. That y'all do not know, Toronto, that was their first ever championship they ever won their whole franchise. And if I'm not mistaken, there's probably like 4 teams in the NBA who never won a championship. Charlotte, the Clippers. I can't think of the other 2, but there's really only 2 teams. There's really like 3-4 teams in the league that hasn't been able to win a championship in their whole entire existence. Toronto was on that list, and then when 2019 came and this man got a championship, that erased him off that list. As y'all come here, smash that like button. So we're gonna have a lot of good discussions today. I'm gonna be open. I actually have another interview I'm gonna be dropping tomorrow, which I'm gonna be recording today. So it's gonna be another interview dropped on the Believe in Clippers podcast. So make sure you guys, if you guys are not already, make sure you guys subscribe and follow my podcast that I'm actually hired with the Believe in Clippers network, on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course YouTube. I drop the videos out here. I'll have another interview with a Clipper person today that will be dropping in the morning. So make sure y'all look out for that. But this one's going to be a very, very good live. I can tell just by the, interactions in the comment section. Let me also give the people in the comments their shout outs. Shout out to my man, Jonell. He said, DeMar, please, after the ass whooping that was placed upon y'all in 2018 by LeBron, not a chance. You are what your record says you are, a team that could never get over the hump under your leadership. Cap. All right, Jonell, appreciate you, my guy. Darren Rice said DeMar DeRozan deserves a ring. Anthony, what's up, my guy? And he said, lies swept by the Wizards. Appreciate you. Corey Gear 5 said DeMar's delusional. Kawhi beat LeBron when he was with the Spurs. So to understand DeRozan's point, he said no Philly would have beat him. And he said Raptors lost to Brooklyn also. Okay. Y'all just keep hitting that like button. Now, like I said, the Raptors won their first championship under Kawhi Leonard's tutelage. And we're gonna go into Kawhi and DeMar and in the seasons and things of that nature. But I want to stick on this. Now, like I said, this was something that was talked about for years. If y'all don't know, DeMar DeRozan, when he left the Raptors, he had a little bit of a axe to grind with the ownership. If y'all don't remember the story how it went, I think DeMar said he was in a movie. He was at a movie theater. It was in the summertime when this happened. And right before the season ended that year, him and the manager talked about him staying long term in Toronto, like he was never gonna get traded. Him and Masai Ujiri sat down. They, discussed the future and everything like that. And he said he was pretty much comfortable. DeMar is going to be a part of the team for the years to come. And, obviously, in business, things happen where players get promised stuff all the time. And then something comes across the owner, the manager's table, and they, look at it and they kind of like really ponder upon it. And, they contemplate, should they make the move or not? And that, obviously makes relationships, friendships, and business and stuff like that kind of, go the other way. That's why, you really can't, especially now, you can't really trust a person's word at all, because you're in a position where you don't have that same leverage as you once did. Y'all hold on one second. Y'all hold on one second. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. I have to plug my laptop in for, if in case it goes out. But you can't really trust what nobody says. Everything is done in writing. Even with a contract, sometimes people can, reach their contract or go against their word, but at least you have legal grounds after that. So you can't trust what a person says, especially in basketball. So that's what DeMar Derozan was facing, with the Raptors. He had like a little fallout with them, and it took him a while to get over it. Y'all heard in the little, the little snippet with, him on First Take. He said he finally got to the point that he was actually happy for the team. He was never out of LA. Once he left LA, from Compton High School to USC, Toronto was his next stop. He never been outside. And that's another thing about people from, certain spots. They don't even go outside their neighborhoods. DeMar was never outside of LA County. He was always, in his familiar surroundings. So when you go to a different, not state, city, but a different country, it's a shell shock. So he spent a lot of time in Toronto where he had to learn how to adapt. He had to learn how to grow up. So it was an emotional connection he had with that city and with that country. So, he goes to San Antonio, and then he moves to Chicago, and now he's with the Sacramento Kings. So let's get a little bit into DeMar DeRozan's career on the court. Now, as y'all can see right here, pull this up. Y'all can see right here. He said DeMar DeRozan has played 15 seasons for the Raptors, Bulls, and Spurs. He has averaged 21.2 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, and 4.1 assists in 1,110 regular season games. He was selected to play in the All-Star game 6 times. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Y'all come in here. Don't be stingy. Hit that like button. Y'all come in here. But this is DeMar DeRozan in a nutshell. He's a very, very talented scorer. Very athletic in his heyday. He's still athletic to this day. A mid-range sniper, not much of a three-point shooter. Can, get to the basket. Not a very strong defender. Has good size for his position at 6'6". Numbers wise in the regular season is, all-star worthy. Especially in this heyday, as y'all can see right here. After 2011 or 2012, 2013, you start seeing, him getting into the 20 points per game consistently. There was his season high he had was 27.3 and 27.9 on 2 separate teams, which was the Raptors and the Bulls. And, the last couple of seasons, he's not had a lot of success going into the playoffs, but he has been presumably healthy. And he's been able to, consistently have around that 4 to 27 points per game. Right. So as far as a basketball player in his career, you can say DeMar DeRozan is a player that's going to go down as, somebody in 2010s that was never top tier player as far as, winning championships and things of that nature. But he is one of the good regular season players. Never part of that top 5, top 10 discussion. Really, he was, somewhere around that top 12 to 15, I would say was his peak. But he was never in the top 5. And, he really, in my opinion, wasn't even part of the top 10 at any point of his career. But when you talk about what he's done in the NBA is a respectable resume, right? So that's who DeMar DeRozan is in the regular season. So I'm going to address the comments of him and what he said about how he feels like he was going to win a championship. I'm gonna break all that stuff down, um, and then we're gonna go from there. I'm gonna let people in right after. So that's him in the regular season. Now, him in the postseason, DeMar is averaging 21 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, and 3.7 assists in 63 games in his playoff career. So when I see this, and I see that from the regular season, it's pretty much flirting around the same numbers. Scoring wise, they both 21 points per game. Rebounds, same as 4.7 rebounds to 4.4 in the regular season. And you got the assists, which is 4.1 to 3.7. So regular season and playoffs, DeMar DeRozan is presumably doing pretty much the same thing. Right now, a little bit of context, you got to remember your average when you talk about your points, especially you talking about him coming into the playoffs somewhat not really having the opportunities to really kind of get the numbers he wants. But when you look at his what is this 1 2 3 4, he's been to the playoffs 7 times in a 16-year career, right? Or 15-year career, he's been to the playoffs 7 times. Pretty much his first 5 was with Toronto and the San Antonio and Chicago were his last 2. So this is his playoff numbers, minutes per game, games played, teams and years and things of that nature. The teams that he played on, and his success was obviously from that 14-15 to that 17-18. That was presumably his best playoff years, where his teams had the most success. Now I'm going to break all this stuff down and talk about his statement. He said all we kept running was LeBron. Now I love DeMar. I love where he's at in his his life. I love where he's been able to overcome so much, especially growing up in Compton. Because I know it ain't easy making it out there. I got family over in Carson, Compton, Long Beach, people from LA. Y'all know what I'm talking about, South Central. I'm proud of that. But yeah, DeMar DeRozan, I completely disagree. First off, to say that he was only running into LeBron James, shout out to my man Ant for putting it out there before I did. He was actually losing to more than just the Cleveland Cavaliers. So 13-14 season, lost in the first round. They lost to the Brooklyn Nets, right when they had KG, old Paul Pierce. They had Darren Williams and Joe Johnson on that team as well. I think they got a gentleman swept that series against that team. No resistance, and they lost in 5 games. Right? They had Kyle Lowry on that team. They had Dwayne Casey coaching. Right? This was a duo with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan for a number of years. So he lost that first year, got gentleman swept, no problem. This is probably his first taste in the playoffs. DeMar DeRozan's first taste. He averaged 23.9 points per game. And the series, actually, no, it went 7 games. I'm sorry. It went 7 games. It went, 7 games that year. He averaged 23.9. Not bad for his first, run in the playoffs. Right. So you really, don't look at it too bad because it did go the distance. And, even though the Brooklyn team had an older, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, they still had Darren Williams, who was one of the top point guards at that time. And you had Joe Johnson, one of the top scorers of all time. If y'all don't remember Joe Johnson was a bucket getter. He was with the Atlanta Hawks. He was the Phoenix Suns early on in his career. He was with Brooklyn. He was still a bucket getter. Darren Williams was one of the best point guards at that time with Chris Paul, with Derrick Rose, with Rajon Rondo, players like that. That's who Darren Williams was at that time. So that's who the Raptors lost to his first run. So no problem. But then the second year, you would think it got better. They got swept, by the Washington Wizards, right? The 14-15 year, they got swept by the Washington Wizards. So you didn't get better. And you faced a team, in my personal opinion, because quiet is kept. I think the Wizards at that time were, rolling in the right direction. But you had a John Wall who was at his prime, but Bradley Beal was nowhere near the player he is, when John Wall got hurt the next couple of seasons after that. So Washington was coming in with really no, real experience. But you got swept by that team. You got swept by them. And then what did you do? You averaged 20 points per 3 points per game. So you didn't improve your point total. You still was, you still wasn't, coming through in the big moments, and your team got swept. By this time, you're starting to be the man on the team. So it's time for you to raise your level of production up. So you got swept and you got beat in 7 games 2 years, who was not the Cleveland Cavaliers. You had the opportunity to get past the first round, which you did not. Right? So that's something that we need to really nip in the bud. The Raptors were not just losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers and that's it. They had 2 years in a row where they had a chance to make it out the first round and show some prominence. Now, like I say again, the regular season, though, the Raptors were great. They were giving you 48 wins per game, 49 wins per game, before DeMar DeRozan even came and became the guy on the team. The years before prior, you're seeing 33, 34 wins. So they were definitely a regular season good team. And they were starting to get better and better every single year. So we have to give them that credit. But again, when I hear the statement, they were only losing to LeBron, you said you only lost to LeBron when you guys were at your peak. But what that gives me off is that if y'all didn't have to face LeBron, y'all would have been in the finals. And I'm trying to show y'all, well, that's not exactly going to be the case, because you're losing to teams who are not even conference finals bound. Like Brooklyn never made to the conference finals, and neither did the Wizards. But you lost to those two teams first round 2 years in a row. And then the next year was your most success in the conference finals, where you lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right? You lost to the conference finals to the Cleveland Cavaliers. You got swept. You got swept that year. And let me see what you do in the 2016, 2017 season, or 2015, 2016 season. You averaged 20 points per game. So what I'm showing y'all year after year, DeMar DeRozan is not raising his game in the playoffs. 3 straight years you lose to the same team. Your level of production was not getting raised from what you were doing in the regular season. Regular season, you were doing good. You were actually averaging 27 points per game, and then you averaged 23 points per game, the last 2 seasons at Toronto. The regular season, DeMar DeRozan has some, great quote-unquote MVP caliber seasons. You had the Toronto Raptors, one of them years actually had the best record in the NBA or in the Eastern Conference. That's what Toronto was. That's what DeMar DeRozan was bringing at that time. But for 5 straight years, you were not even able to get your team to the finals. So if you telling me 3 years in a row, you getting swept, gentlemen swept, and then you getting, beat 42, that's an issue. That shows me that something is not registering, because at some point you would think, even if a team is quote unquote superior to you, you would at least get them one time, and y'all couldn't get them at all. Y'all keep hitting that like button. Y'all come in here. Keep smashing that like button. He said DeMar wasn't mentally ready to win a championship, so he's on cap. He ain't nowhere near Kawhi Leonard, especially on defense. JM said, fam, but why? How did Stephen A. make this breaking news on ESPN? DeRozan was a guest star to cry about. He would have did. Nah, I disagree with that. Like I said, DeMar, he was promoting his book and things of that nature. I think this is more Stephen A. Smith again, because if y'all remember, Stephen A. Smith is the one that pretty much put this out here. He's the one that started this whole, the Raptors would have won without, Kawhi Leonard. They would have won with, just DeMar DeRozan, which, again, like I keep saying, this man has a problem with Kawhi Leonard, because he's had multiple people try to take shots at him. You had Paul George, you had DeMar DeRozan, the media. You've had a lot of people he's tried to pin against Kawhi Leonard over and over and over, and it's starting to make it real clear sense onto terms to why. But back to my point, and I put this out here last week. A lot of y'all get on James Harden, y'all get on Paul George, y'all get on all these players who actually have won series and been having great performances in the playoffs, especially in their prime. I seen James Harden get to the conference finals multiple times, 3-4 times, get to the NBA finals one time. I've seen him carry teams as the number one guy without his second running mate. I've seen Paul George, not just in Indiana, but with the OKC thing with the Clippers, have historic seasons and great playoff series. They've been able to bring their teams up, and they've just been losing to teams that have been dynasties. You got the Rockets with James Harden losing to Golden State Warriors was a dynasty. You got Paul George losing to the Miami Heat, in that Super 3 big team. When one of them series, he was the best player in the whole series. He just didn't have the help to get him over the hump against a prime LeBron James and a very, very good Dwayne Wade and a very, very, good Chris Bosh. That would be somebody you can say, if he didn't have to go through LeBron, could have got to the finals, Paul George, because he was actually giving it to that whole Miami Heat big three and taking them to 7-6 games. The Raptors weren't even they were getting swept and gentlemen swept. But let's talk about this 2018-2019 year that Kawhi Leonard had real quick. So obviously the Raptors get Kawhi Leonard in the trade for not just DeMar DeRozan, but for Jake Portal as well, who was actually their center at the time. So it wasn't just one player that they traded for. They traded for two players, which shows you that DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard were not on the same level. Because if you have to trade two players at once, that means to show you're not the best player. That's not an even trade, right? So that's the first thing. So we have to kind of take an account of that. So they bring in Kawhi Leonard, who is a two-time player and Finals champion, NBA Finals MVP. He's leading down San Antonio because of all the friction he has with the organization, with his injuries, a bridge that was pretty much burned. So he goes to Toronto. He gets traded there, not willingly. He gets traded to Toronto. His one and only season, which was 2018-2019, and he obviously delivers the championship. Now, just like how I've just brought up how the player DeMar DeRozan is, one second. One second, y'all. I'm answering this text message. All right. So Kawhi delivers a championship, and he not only delivers a championship, he has one of the most historic playoff runs of all time. As y'all can see on the screen, that is Kawhi Leonard compared to Michael Jordan's championship year in 1992, which, in my personal opinion, was the best Michael Jordan I've ever seen. Was 92 Jordan when they faced the Portland Trailblazers that year in the postseason. They both have a similar record. They both have close in scoring. Kawhi beats Jordan out in rebounds. Jordan beats him out in assists. Jordan beats him out in steals. Kawhi has less turnovers, but he shoots the ball in all three categories, 2-point, 3-point, and free throw better than Jordan. Right? As I've told y'all before, this is the guy, in my personal opinion, who's most like Michael Jordan next to Kobe Bryant is Kawhi Leonard. I've said this before, that this man is this is the man of this generation's Jordan and Kobe. I don't just say that just to say that. I'm actually letting y'all see it on the screen. And if y'all watch the games with your eyes, y'all can see what I'm talking about. How Kawhi Leonard plays is very similar to not the Jordan, in the 90s, but more so like the later Jordan, like, on the post, the mid-range, the elbow, the turnaround jump shot, the defense, everything kind of mimics what I seen with Jordan and Kawhi. Right? But I digress from that. Kawhi had one of the most historic playoff runs of all time, and people keep trying to disrespect it. I don't know what it is, but people want to keep disrespecting this run as if it was just like anybody can be put in that position and do it. And that's why I don't want to get on DeMar DeRozan, but the reason I'm doing this is to try to put in perspective just what the hell Kawhi Leonard did that year. First of all, let's look at not just the numbers, but the competition he faced. You talk about a Raptor team, again, that's never won anything. They never won a championship, and they never, ever made it to the NBA Finals until one guy got there. They didn't make it there with Vince Carter. They didn't make it there with Chris Bosh. They didn't make it there with DeMar DeRozan. They didn't make it there with, any of these historic players that you guys have so much respect for. They could not do it. Not only did this man did it, I'm talking about Kawhi, he did it in his first and only year to a team he didn't even want to go to. He never wanted to go to the Toronto Raptors ever. He wanted to go to the LA Lakers or the Clippers, which he's at right now. The Spurs traded him to the Raptors because they didn't want to have to deal with him in the Western Conference. They said they're going to trade him to a team where he's not really have to, compete up against. So you're talking about a guy who didn't want to go there, was to a new country that he did not want to really be at, and he was able to deliver a championship. That's the number one thing right there. Now, let's look at, I pulled up DeMar DeRozan statistics. Let's pull up Kawhi's statistics. So, in 12 seasons, Kawhi for the Spurs, Clippers, and Raptors, he has averaged 20 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, and 3-point assists in 696 regular season games, right? He was selected to play in 6 All-Star games. He won the Defensive Player of the Year twice, 2 Finals MVPs, and 2 NBA championships. That's Kawhi Leonard's stuff in a nutshell. Now, as y'all can see, if you look at the numbers, which is 20 points per game, this is the one thing people get on Kawhi about. His points don't really jump at you through the screen. He just reached over 13,000 points. Well, we all really pretty much know why that's the case, because this man continuously gets injured at the wrong times. As I said before, if Kawhi Leonard has not been injured, if Kawhi Leonard has never been injured, to me personally, he would be close to being top 5 player of all time. Yes, I would put him over Magic Johnson. I'll put him over Larry Bird. I'll put him over Hakeem Olajuwon. I'll put him over Tim Duncan. I would put him over, Shaquille O'Neal. If he never got hurt, he was on the pace to be at that level. You talking about somebody who's been in the league for 12 years. He's presumably supposed to be in his prime. Right? You don't really leave your prime until you're about 34, 35, especially in this day and era where you have more technology, you have more better training. That helps you maintain your level of play when you have better, stuff to recover from. It's just unfortunately at the wrong times we've been able to not really have his legacy enhanced, which we're going to talk about later on. But that's his regular season stats. Now, if you go to his postseason, this is where Kawhi Leonard usually lives at in the postseason. We say it all the time. If there's one player in the playoffs who I want over Kevin Durant, over LeBron James, over Nikola Jokic, over Steph Curry, over anyone, Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, if there's one player that I'm picking, putting my house and putting my money on, it's this man on the screen. It's Kawhi Leonard. Reason being because he affects the game both ways. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He averaged 21.3 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 2.9 assists in 139 games in the playoff of his career. Now, of course, we got to look at, there's some context that needs to be referred to this actual screenshot. Now, obviously, again, when we talk about averages, you got to look at, they include everything. Even when you played a minimum of like 25 to 27 minutes, those averages still go into your total to this day. That 21 points per game you guys see on the screen goes actually from Kawhi Leonard's first playoff stint to his last playoff stint, right? His first playoff stint when he was not asked to be the number one scorer or given the opportunities to score because of the team that he was on, which is the Spurs, who actually puts everybody in position to, play team ball. You don't have the opportunity to score the numbers that you probably would score if you had more chances to actually have the ball in your hands. And it also contributes to the last playoff series he had where he was pretty much playing at 30%. 12 points per game obviously ain't Kawhi Leonard, but it goes into his point total. So when you guys see this 21 points per game, just make sure to take that in consideration. I asked y'all pay attention to the playoff series where he was not only healthy, but he had more of the responsibility to be the number one guy. That started around 2015, 2016. Oh, I'm sorry, 2016, 2017. Right, you guys see 27 points per game, 30 points per game, 28 points per game, 30 points per game, 34 points per game. That's specifically, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 playoff seasons in a row where he's averaging over 25 points per game, dominating his matchup. Right? You're talking about a guy who shot 67% from the field. True shooting percentage in the 2021 NBA playoffs in 11 games, while averaging 30 points. And I'm bringing this up for a reason. See, because when I brought up DeMar DeRozan, what he did in the playoffs, his impact just doesn't reach that. Again, this is his playoff total. The most he ever scored in the playoffs was 23.9 points per game. I said it once and I'll say it again. DeMar DeRozan's level of play from the regular season to the playoffs does not enhance, it goes down. And when you talk about a player who, quote unquote, can lead you to a championship, that can't happen. Your game is supposed to rise up, not go down in the postseason. It's not supposed to do that. So when you have that, that's an issue. That's a problem. But this notion still goes around that the Raptors could have won with DeMar DeRozan and not Kawhi Leonard. I'm going to go a little bit deeper in this because I'm tired of hearing it. I'm hearing people say James Harden could have won that championship when he was with Houston with that same Raptors team. You could have plugged LeBron in. So basically, it's an attempt to take away from what Kawhi Leonard does on the court. But what I just posted was just simply offensively. What I'm posting simply what Kawhi Leonard did in that playoff run in Toronto was simply offense. The numbers that I'm posting about Kawhi is simply who he is with his, shooting percentages. I did not even bring up the defensive side of the ball yet. So again, we focus on 2019 run, what he was doing in that run. Not only was he scoring the ball at magnificent shooting splits, 54.2, 39.1, and 89.0% from the free throw line. He was also giving it to you on the defensive end in big moments. Now, some of y'all know I like stories, so I'm going to give you a couple. Y'all keep smashing that like button. If y'all don't remember, the Raptors at that time were the second best team in the Eastern Conference, right? You had Milwaukee number 1, you had Philly number 3, and you had Toronto number 2. Those are the 3 best teams in the Eastern Conference. Kawhi Leonard had to go up against the Sixers, who were a team that had a Jimmy Butler. First of all, let's not even worry about the other two. Jimmy Butler the next year got the Miami Heat to the NBA Finals. That's who the Sixers had. They had him as a third option. Jimmy Butler. You had Joel Embiid as your second option or your first option, who at that time, he was a second-year player, yes. But he was still presumed as one of the best bigs in the NBA. Right? You got guys like Victor Wembanyama. His impact is felt even though he's a second-year player about to be. So really, you can't just go by what he did as far as the numbers. That's who the Sixers had. Joel Embiid's been consistently one of the most best bigs in the league since he got here. So that's who the Sixers had. They had a Ben Simmons who, before all the mental, lapses and everything that was going against. There's a guy who was being compared to LeBron James at the time. I remember that. They were comparing Ben Simmons to LeBron James early in his career. That was the talk of the town. So you had a three-headed monster on your team facing a Toronto Raptors team again who was not proven. You had guys like Kyle Lowry, who was an all-star, but also known as a choke artist. A guy who had to go back in the back rooms and decompress because the pressure of the playoffs were getting to him. And see, that's another reason why it's hard for me to believe that the Raptors would have won with DeMar DeRozan, because you had your two best players dealing with mental hurdles. You had Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan were both dealing with similar things, which as the leader of the team, you just can't have that at the highest level. If you reach a certain level and you have to decompress, that means that the pressure is getting to you. There was no calmness on that team when they faced LeBron James. They needed to bring somebody in to calm the storm, and DeMar DeRozan was just not that guy for LeBron. The guy on the screen you guys see have a winning percentage against LeBron James, who's already been up against LeBron when he's with San Antonio, who after 2016, 2017 had a winning percentage and averaged better numbers than LeBron James. Why do I bring up 2016, 2017? Because that's when Kawhi Leonard became who he was supposed to be. That's when you guys started seeing the highest, the MVP talk when he was third in MVP talk in 2016, 2017. That's when Kawhi Leonard's career really took off because he got the opportunity to allow it to take off. So they're two different animals. DeMar is a great scorer. Very, very good, very, very good athlete. Great athlete if you want to put, that on it. But there's some holes in it. He's not a playoff performer. So how is it that you could have beat LeBron? You could have won the Eastern Conference, went to the finals if it was, not for LeBron. There's been playoff series where DeMar DeRozan averaged 16 points in his prime. Go check out the Pacers when they played the Pacers in 2017, and they won 7 games with Paul George, and I think PG averaged 28 points that series. So you had a good team around you, DeMar, but you were never able to take them over the hump, because at the end of the day, your team can be as good as it wants to, but it's only going to go as far as the best player. And when you talk about 21, 23 points per game, that's not cutting it. As a one-way player, that's not going to cut it. So you get a guy like Kawhi, who not only is going to be averaging, quote unquote, 1 points per game that entire playoff run, but he's going to be taking on defensive assignments. So you take on the defensive assignment of a Ben Simmons, of a Jimmy Butler. You grab every single big rebound there is to grab. You averaging 9.1 rebounds per game that entire playoff run. Not one game, not 3 games, not 2. That entire playoff run, the man was averaging 9.1 rebounds per game. So he's giving it to you on the glass. He's shooting efficiently from the field. He's guarding the point of attack against Giannis Antetokounmpo because Pascal Siakam couldn't do it. OG Anunoby was hurt. Marcus Gasol couldn't do it. Serge Ibaka couldn't do it. Danny Green couldn't do it. No one in the league at that, the MVP. People want to take credit away from the Bucks, saying stuff like Eric Bledsoe was their point guard. You had the MVP on the Bucks, quote unquote, best player in the league, according to the ESPN and all that stuff. This was the best player, and Kawhi Leonard took the initiative, being down 0-2, to say, I'm a guard Giannis. He was the primary defender. He was the point of attack defender because no one else on the team could do it. He's offensively and defensively doing what needs to be done to win the series. And not to mention, let me also bring something else. He was actually injured in the Philly and the Toronto and the Milwaukee series. So you're talking about a guy who's pretty much playing on one leg. One leg. Same one leg he was playing against the Phoenix Suns where he had a torn meniscus. And the numbers he put up in that series in the 2023 playoffs, 31, 8, and 7. No one even knew this man was injured. No one even knew he had a torn meniscus. Because again, Kawhi Leonard keeps things private. He was killing Kevin Durant. He was killing Devin Booker. So the Raptors get to the finals that year and they beat Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors in 6 games, who already had won 3 championships. Or I'm sorry, 3 championships. A dynasty. I don't understand people trying to take credit away from Kawhi's championship, but it's annoying. This is the only guy that's won a championship for that entire franchise. No one else could do it. Vince Carter couldn't do it. Tracy McGrady couldn't do it. Chris Bosh couldn't do it. DeMar DeRozan couldn't do it. And they couldn't get you to the finals. As I've said before, DeMar DeRozan is not a playoff performer. So yes, let's play devil's advocate real quick. Let's say that you didn't have to deal with LeBron James. You still was going to have to deal with. Let's just act like you had to go up against. You got to the finals. You had to go against the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry. I am more than confident, based off of DeMar DeRozan in the postseason, and based off of the team that the Warriors were, even without KD, I still think the Raptors would have lost that series. I still believe that. Because, see, I seen Steph Curry beat LeBron James and the Cavs in 2015. Yes, they didn't have Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, but you still faced LeBron James. The Warriors weren't a super team yet. They weren't a super team yet. The year before that, the Warriors lost to us in the first round in 2014. So they were still trying to figure it out. Then you look at 2022. Steph Curry goes nuclear against a Boston Celtics team that was favored. So I bring that up to say you still have to deal with that beast. And you have to deal with a team who had a better system. And Klay Thompson still played 4.5 of those 6 games against the Raptors. I think the Warriors could almost gentleman swept y'all. So this notion that the Raptors were only losing to LeBron James is cap. This notion that the Raptors would have won if they didn't have to deal with LeBron James is cap. And it's all an attempt just to take away from Kawhi. You can't just plug anybody in that system and say they would have won. You're going to have to ask somebody not to score at a high efficiency rate, but also guard the opposing team's best players. And that's what people they keep forgetting. The defensive end of the ball is what Kawhi Leonard even was more spectacular on. Dealing with Giannis, dealing with Jimmy Butler, dealing with Ben Simmons. Elevating his teammates like Kyle Lowry, elevating Fred VanVleet, elevating Serge Ibaka, elevating Pascal Siakam, who did never make an all-star team till Kawhi Leonard got there. And I don't think he's made an all-star team since he left, I think, other than one year. This was probably his best year statistically since Kawhi Leonard's left. But the Raptors, for whatever reason, they've still been struggling. They basically tanked. And they pretty much are getting rid of they got rid of OG Anunoby to the Knicks. They got rid of Pascal Siakam to the Pacers, Fred VanVleet to the Rockets. You know what I'm saying? They pretty much starting over their whole team. Well, after one move, one departure. What Kawhi Leonard accomplished in 1 year, DeMar DeRozan could not accomplish in 5 straight playoff runs. 5 straight years he could not accomplish what Kawhi Leonard did in 1 year. Oh yeah, the coach he wanted was his first year as well. Dwayne Casey had been there for multiple seasons, and they finally got a new coach and Nick Nurse, and they was able to win a championship. So that's another person he was able to elevate. We talk about Nick Nurse today off of that one playoff run. Nick Nurse was nobody that was really talked about. Since he won that one playoff run with Toronto, that's his biggest accomplishment. This is why we feel Philadelphia is going to be a dangerous team under Nick Nurse's system, his offensive system, his defensive intensity, his relationship with his players, right? So, oh yeah, you got Tobias Harris was on that team as well. You had a full team in Philadelphia. What y'all think this trust the process has been for the last multiple years, man? The Sixers were basically presumed to be a finals team at some point. They've always been talked about as one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. This is the year I feel like they're gonna finally get over the hump. But to discredit that Sixer team with all that talent and with all that experience and with all that star power on that team is weird. No one on the Raptors team averaged over 20 points that whole playoff run. So you had good players, but you didn't have no super team. You didn't have a team where you tried to stack the deck. You just had a good guy All right, y'all. Can y'all hear me? My fault. My phone died, so I had to plug that back in. But let me go ahead and let y'all in, man. Let me go ahead and let y'all into the chat and let y'all kind of discuss what we just talked about. But yeah, I strongly disagree with this statement. I do not feel that the Raptors would have been able to prevail if they had DeMar DeRozan outside of Kawhi Leonard. Nothing proves that would be the case. So let me go ahead and drop this link. Come in here and cook with y'all. See. Posted. Okay. Look, some of these comments. Let's see. Salute, the realest salute. Let me see. He said Spurs had no one average. Yeah, he's done more with less. But I want to hear y'all opinions. How do y'all feel about DeMar DeRozan's comments? How y'all feel about his comments? Let y'all come and take the wheel. He said I'm glitching out. Yeah, like I said, my phone died, man. Can y'all hear me Can y'all hear me? Y'all still got me out. Can y'all hear me? Let me see. He said, "Wait, Spurs were pretty good when DeRozan got there, so he could have won with the Spurs." Um, yeah, they made it to this. I think they made it to they win 7 games with Denver, but it's just a different player, man. He's just not that same caliber player where he can really raise his game to that superstar level. He can't. He can't. It's kind of unfortunate he can't raise that game. He said DeMar beats Jimmy and the Sixers. I don't know. I don't know if he does. It took Kawhi going 7 games on a lucky bounce to beat the Sixers. So I don't know. I don't think so. See what's up with some other comments. Shout out to my boy Elaze. He said salute. He said DeMar not sending Curry home. Yeah, I don't think he is either. Curry's sent some players home, man. Just unfortunately couldn't send Kawhi home. DeMar said he's sending Klay Thompson home, played 85% of playoffs. Nope. He said the Warriors and Clippers or the Kings not coming out the West. The Grizzlies or the Mavericks. Man, the Mavs ain't coming out the West, man. They're not coming out the West. And the Grizzlies, nah. I'm not so big on the Ja Morant hype. I'm sorry. I'm just not as big as it. Let's see some more comments. So if he sends Embiid home, then he would not have sent Giannis home. So what's there to talk about? But that's the point that we keep trying to make. Is not he wouldn't have made it to the finals if he didn't have to go against LeBron. He would have lost against somebody. He played Giannis in 2022. What happened? They got beat. They got gentleman swept. After that first game, I think after game 2, where I think DeMar had like 40-something, they just went down like 3 games straight. And that's why I be saying, like, he just loses his traction in the playoffs. He's just not a playoff performer like that, not consistently. So, yeah, I just can't. Good time.
What's good, man? I know. Hey, BJ, how much you think that shit that DeMar Derozan be snorting and smoking? How much you think that shit cost, man? You think I can get on the low?
Hey, I'll put a call in.
Yeah, man. I need to get some of that shit on the low, man. Like, you know, hey, DeMar got shit that Cuba can't even produce, bro. I ain't seen no shit come out of Cuba good as that shit. DeMar be snorting and smoking. That man on that, he on that historic shit, bro.
I ain't,
we ain't talking
basketball. Just that Cali. That's all that is. Just that Cali.
We ain't talking historic basketball, man.
You on that good Cali weed.
Hey, BJ, the points you put it there, it was 22, 23 points per game. Hey, man, Tobias Harris doing that shit in Philadelphia, man. That was about the 4th option on the team, man. And DeMar thought he gonna beat Philly. I mean, DeMar think he gonna guard Giannis. Motherfucking Tobias Harris can't go out there and get fucking 20 as the 4th option, man. What the fuck was DeMar Derozan gonna do to that team? You know, everybody forget that Kawhi was locking up Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler every other possession. And ain't like he was just guarding one of them. That motherfucker gave Ben Simmons. I don't know if you looked this up, but I told you to the other day. I couldn't remember it. I just wanted to. But that motherfucker gave Ben Simmons like 7 or 8 turnovers, man, like once or twice in that series in one game. Like DeMar's not doing that to Ben Simmons. I mean, come on, man. That motherfucker, he wasn't finna do shit to Philly, man. And like you said, if Kawhi went 7 games, what the fuck was Toronto gonna do? The same motherfucking Raptors that lost to Deron Williams, Darren Williams, what the fuck his name is? And you know another reason that the Raptors so here they say we don't get, you know, we just Kawhi fans, they don't want to get no credit. Here, I give y'all some credit. I actually got more ammo for y'all's favor in arguing with me than y'all actually can bring me yourself. I just don't give it to y'all because, I mean, that's not my job. My job is not to argue for y'all. But let me give y'all a little ammo. There's nobody on the Raptors, because Marc Gasol is not going to the Raptors unless Kawhi is there. He's not going to join DeMar Derozan, right? So there was nobody on the Raptors that was going to guard Embiid if Marc Gasol was there. Wasn't there. So that go y'all some argument. You want to argue? You want me to help y'all? You want me to help y'all try to stand a little bit of chance versus me? Because y'all stand no chance. But you want me to help y'all a little bit? I'll help you a little bit. Nobody on the Raptors was guarding Embiid except Marc Gasol. And he came there because of number 2. It's really that's, and other people guarding other players was Danny Green and Pascal. He was the one helping guard Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons when Kawhi was on the other one. Well, guess what? Danny Green ain't gonna be there because ain't no trade made. Danny Green still in San Antonio with Kawhi. So DeRozan, he wouldn't have Marc Gasol and he wouldn't have Danny Green. And so, who the fuck was gonna guard Embiid for you to win that series? Nobody. Who the fuck was gonna guard Giannis for you to win that series? Nobody. Who the fuck was gonna guard Curry? Nobody. None of y'all. Because Kawhi elevates y'all defender. Go ask OG Anunoby who trained him. They call him Baby Kawhi for a reason. Kawhi mentored him, and he gives Kawhi all the praise. Now, of course, that's not a yesterday comment. That's a back then comment. So use some common sense and don't talk stupid. I didn't see that yesterday. I didn't see that. When did you say that shit? Obviously, it's back then. Kyle Lowry said, man, the Raptors ain't never been poised and calm. He said, man, when Kawhi was on the court, when Kawhi was on our team, it was a common shit in Toronto. He kept us all at bay because every time we all wanted to overreact to do this, that, and third, we just looked at Kawhi and was like, man, we got this. You ain't making that presence felt tomorrow. You ain't doing that. So that's a whole. I appreciate the comedy, BJ. I appreciate making the show. I needed a good laugh today. That's that fucking Demar Derozan. That shit funny in the motherfucker. It's amazing how Kawhi. I mean, BJ, you can just take Kawhi off the team, leave Danny Green, leave Marc Gasol, and just insert DeMar Derozan. DeMar, that's not how that works. You don't pull no weight like that, kid. You don't pull no weight. You ain't got no strings to pull. You can be used, but you're not needed. There's a difference. Used and needed. So the Raptors was going to get their ass whooped. They weren't going to beat the 76ers at all. And, Andre's been turned into like the biggest Kawhi Leonard hater in the world, BJ. I don't know if you noticed that lately. So now he's trying to say a DeMar Derozan, a guy that he probably clowned his whole life, the whole world clowned for choking, getting swept, choking, getting swept, choking, getting swept. Now he's going to say he'll beat your team, y'all super team y'all had. Since you want to call bum-ass Westbrook and the older version of a Harden a super team, since you want to call that a super team, your team was in their prime, though. Tobias, J.J. Redick, Andre, Embiid, Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, y'all was in y'all prime. DeMar wouldn't beat y'all super team, man. DeMar was only averaging 3 more points than Philly's fourth option. DeMar averaged 22 over there in the playoff series. Tobias just hanging up 19 all the time. 20s. Fuck out of here. Whole ass joke.
Yeah. I mean, people run with that notion, though. That Kawhi would have, that DeMar would have won a championship and you can just plug anybody in Kawhi's spot and they would somehow just got the job done. I don't know what they.
You know what it means, BJ?
Yeah,
What's the phrase I always say?
What you mean?
What's the phrase I always say? If you're scared of Kawhi, just say that shit, man. You get way more respect for being honest as a man. You get way more respect. If you fucking scared to say you're scared, man. Shit, BJ, and I reap what I sow. When Kawhi was off the court, did I call off the Clipper bets or not? I didn't sit up here and keep the Clipper bets. Nah. If I was worried that we might lose the series because Kawhi ain't on the court, I call off the bet. If I'm worried, I say I'm worried. I call this shit off. If y'all scared of Kawhi, just say, be a man like me, man. Just say that shit. Mosh came on the channel and said, Thomas, do you want to call the bet off? Fucking right, I'm calling the bet off. There's no thinking about it. There's no talking about it. Fucking right, I'm calling it off. Cause I'm a man. I'm a man of my word. If this player ain't on here, I ain't betting. And when that time came, I ain't bet. So that's all y'all gotta do. Be like me. If you're scared, say you fucking scared. That's all you gotta do. It's really that simple, man. This shit ain't hard. And ain't nobody gonna blame you for being scared. Nobody gonna blame you for that. You get respect out of that.
Look at this. He said, "I respect DeMar, but I believe he couldn't caught the Carmelo Anthony syndrome, which really just about looking about the good times." I looked at this. I'm like, when I saw the interview, I'm like, nah, he couldn't have said that again. Just the fact that he did it on ESPN First Take just showed me, okay, this is coming from Stephen A. Smith. It's coming from his mouth. He wants to put more dirt on Kawhi's name.
Yeah, he always been mad.
Disrespect, man. I don't think people know how great that run was.
It's a number, man. Kawhi scored the third most points in NBA playoff history. There's only 2 people that scored more points than Kawhi did in that run. Let me know when DeRozan can get in that conversation. But that's why Stephen A. Smith a clown. All Stephen A. Smith good for is causing arguments on TV.
Take the ramp on the right.
And that's the world we live in, where arguing is a good thing. Drama, nonsense, arguing. Mm-hmm. That's the era we in. They don't live by the facts. So that's what Stephen good at. And that's also why Stephen owned. BJ, I don't want to go back and bring this up. We done buried them clowns, but Stephen A. Smith got owned by Skip Bayless. Yo, that man so many fucking died Mountain Dews. The only other argument like that was when we owned fucking Mookie and Hearn. That's the only other argument we seen like that before.
Yeah.
That's the only other argument. Maybe Shannon Sharp, because Shannon Sharp did own Stephen A. Smith a lot of died Mountain Dews too. He owed him a lot. But Stephen A. Smith was in more debt than fucking Shannon was. Both of them motherfuckers, but they would get schooled by Skip Bayless left and right. And you know, Skip got the Kawhi insight. Stephen A. can't get the Kawhi insight, so he gonna. Yeah, but the good thing is though, BJ,
he gonna keep ruffling his
one
feathers.
thing,
He gonna keep ruffling his feathers.
he gonna keep ruffling his fucking feathers, and that knee gonna be healthy. And they're gonna take but one more year, one healthy knee. Hang some jewelry up, hang some banners. Yeah, that man.
So now we on the
shit funny
subject
as hell.
though. Where do you put DeMar DeRozan as far as his? Do you ever think he was top 10?
Fuck no. Top 10 or what? In the NBA?
Yeah,
Man,
did you ever think he was top 10?
hell no. Hell no. No, let BJ, I want you to listen to this. The same shit we throw on LeBron, it also holds true for fucking DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. BJ, they played and beat 0 top 75 players in NBA history in LeBron's East. 0. You know who else is in LeBron's East? DeMar DeRozan. That's the East they was in. Kobe went through an ass ton of them. LeBron went through 0. I mean, that's the East that DeMar's in. The same East that we all clown, right? That's the same East. It's the same fucking East, man. I mean, what we doing here? We just all of a sudden going like that East or something? LeBron beat 0 top 75 players. Not 8, not 7, not 6, not 5, not 4. Let's get a applause from the crowd. Not 3, not 2, not 1. Goose egg. The best thing he beat over there was old motherfucking Kevin Garnett and them boys. That's the best thing he beat. It wasn't none of them players at that point in time a top 75. They was old as dirt, man. The same LeBron crowd that says LeBron had Westbrook, Carmelo, Dwight Howard said they was old. Well, there's a screenshot going around, BJ, that shows the Bulls had just the same old team as the Lakers had that year. And the Bulls, that was the Bulls when they won the three-peat, that second three-peat. Same age.
Yeah, I remember.
Same age. But that's the East that DeMar was in. So put it this way, BJ. If we got motherfuckers trying to lie to us and tell us LeBron is to go, and he goes to the finals and gets swept, what the fuck you think was going to happen to DeMar DeRozan?
In 3.5 miles, take
Come on, man.
61 on the right.
Come on, man.
Hey, let me get P5 in.
Go ahead.
Let me get P5 in real quick. This is Raptors team. I'm gonna see what he has to say about it, man. What's good, P5? P5.
P5, you on mute.
Nah, he ain't on mute. I think he probably stepped away from the.
I'm saying, he hit mute himself or whatever.
Yeah, I can't hear you. We can't hear you. No, we can't hear you, P5. Try coming in, try coming out again. Yeah. I'm gonna remove you. I'm gonna come back in. Try to come back in, P5. But what you saying, Thomas?
In 2.25 miles.
Oh no, I was just saying like
on the right.
The shit the shit that holds true for one player holds true for another. I mean, you can't Jones on the East and not Jones on the East when it's somebody else's conversation. You got to hold the same consistent conversation. You playing no damn bodies.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, how does the man y'all call to go to the finals and get swept and gentlemen swept and gentlemen swept? He's got three sweeps on his record and 2 gentlemen sweeps on his record, and that's y'all's GOAT. If he gets swept in the final, man, the fuck you think finna happen to fucking Demar Derozan, man?
Yo, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, you good now?
Yeah, you frozen.
Right, that's right.
You frozen though.
I'm frozen. Hello, am I moving?
We can hear you.
I can't look at the phone. I don't know. I can just hear you.
Yeah, you frozen on the screen, but I can hear you.
But y'all can hear me though. Okay. That's all I need to know. So do the Raptors win a championship with DeMar DeRozan? No, they do not. But I think they can still make it to maybe the Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe. I don't think they. And tell me if I can't hear me, by the way, through any time of this.
No, we can hear you.
My thing with the Raptors, and I disagree with sports analysts. They do still get Marc Gasol because Marc Gasol didn't sign with the Raptors because Kawhi was there. The Raptors traded for Marc Gasol to get rid of Jonas Valanciunas for the playoffs. So Marc Gasol still becomes a Raptor. And they still have him in the Philly series, which is a big reason why I think they won that series. Of course, Kawhi Leonard was the bigger reason. But I think that team has a chance to still beat the Sixers. Do I think they do it? No. But I think they at least make it to the second round, maybe the Eastern Conference Finals. Did they win a championship? No. I don't. They're not getting past Milwaukee. They're not. Without Kawhi. And look, all respect to DeMar DeRozan. I love DeMar DeRozan. He's my favorite player. He's the guy who got me into basketball, but he's just not leading that team to the championship.
Fuck no. He's not going to Jimmy Butler or Ben Simmons.
His playoff. How much does his playoff defaults get ignored from the masses? Because I was looking at it.
Oh, they do not get ignored. They do not.
They get ignored. Yeah. Like, if you look at his numbers in the season from the playoffs, they dip.
DeMar already frozen. Big 5-year screamer frozen like DeMar.
P5, we can't hear you.
I was on mute for a moment. My bad. I was on mute for a moment because I didn't want to smack on the stream. But I mean, DeMar's playoff stats, they don't get overlooked. I think it's a pretty big deal when it comes to DeRozan. That's his biggest flaw that people know about. Yeah, it doesn't get ignored, I don't think, at all. It doesn't get ignored. But, it is what it is.
Who started this whole thing with the Raptors would have won with DeMar DeRozan?
I guess DeMar DeRozan.
Was it him or was
it? I didn't know it was a thing. I mean, that's not nothing in his news for me to fucking even blink at. The only reason I found out about it because of BJ. If I'd have saw that shit, I would have just swiped screen left. It wouldn't even worth me entertaining that nonsense. And they wasn't the reason they're not getting Gasol is because first of all, Gasol is going to have some input on the trade to even go there in the first place. Like, these players have input.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
And Kawhi has. Yes, they do. That's why players ask out for certain trades to go to certain cities. That's exactly why they do that.
We've seen superstars. We've seen superstars asked to go to certain places, and then they don't get traded to those certain places. We've seen that happen to superstars. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard even didn't want to go to Toronto. They traded him to Toronto anyway. Marc Gasol would have no input. The Grizzlies were trying to offload his salary and get younger. He would have had no input on where he goes. He wouldn't have any input. So I disagree with that. The Raptors,
certain level of respect. That's the difference. See, certain players ain't gonna get the respect. So you're right to an extent. Certain players, they don't, like Popovich. He was salty about Kawhi, because Popovich is the type of dude. If anybody he has no beef against, he's not sending nobody. He wouldn't have sent nobody else to Toronto. He did that. He sent him out of the country on purpose because he was pissed off. That's what that was. When James Harden was getting respect, he got sent where he said go. They have input. Some people don't. Marcus Gasol, everybody loves that dude. That dude would have had input. Also on the other side,
okay. So sports analyst.
On the other side,
so
Kawhi would have had input about where he goes. Like Kawhi would have had input about where they want to trade for him or not as well. That's what I'm saying.
As would DeMar DeRozan. I mean, even then, DeMar DeRozan, he was a Raptor for a decade plus, the leader of that team, and some called him the leader of the country. And he was beloved in Toronto. He was the leader of that team. He was the guy. And they traded him when he did not want to get traded. They didn't even let him know about it. They let him know about it through Twitter. So teams don't. Wait, hold on, wait. Exactly. So Thomas. Teams don't care most of the time about what the player wants. They care about what value they can get back in return. They don't care. So okay. So what report, what article, what news have you heard that Marc Gasol had any decision on where he got traded to? Because what I remember is the Raptors. Because what I remember.
And he said what I remember is that's what he said.
Oh yeah. So you're going to go to a contending team. The Raptors with DeMar DeRozan still would have been a contending team. They still would have been a top. No. I'm talking about at the time of the trade because Marc Gasol doesn't know they're going to play the 76ers in January or February when he got traded. I'm talking about at that time, the Toronto Raptors still would have been a top 3 seed, a top 2 seed. They still would have had one of the better teams in the NBA. So Marc Gasol getting traded to so Marc Gasol getting traded to Toronto, a team that in years past, a team. No, not just because of Kawhi, because that team was really, really good.
Only because of Kawhi.
No, that's not true.
The team is going nowhere without Kawhi, without Danny Green.
Not true.
They're going nowhere at all. They're not beating the 76ers.
I didn't say they would. I didn't say they would.
Everybody knew that.
I didn't say they would. No, not everybody did not know that. No, because the whole narrative, because the narrative with the Raptors, because the narrative with the Raptors, because the narrative with the Raptors,
because y'all laughing stock.
Because the narrative with the Raptors, because the narrative with the Raptors around the time was they just couldn't get past LeBron. They made it to the conference finals in 2016. They didn't beat LeBron. They made it to the second round the very next year. They couldn't beat LeBron. They were the first seed, 59-win season. They could not beat LeBron. The very next year when LeBron's no longer in the conference, the narrative changes. The Eastern Conference becomes a lot more open than just LeBron. So with that being said, the Toronto Raptors still would have been looked at.
Trade DeMar then, if they believe that?
Because they want because the Raptors because the Raptors. No. I said the narrative around the league. Masai Ujiri saw an opportunity to upgrade over DeMar DeRozan, which he took to get Kawhi Leonard, and it worked. Saying that we sucked is crazy.
Why don't you go back and repeat all the 5 years? Why don't you just keep sticking to LeBron? Y'all bitches losing to any and everybody. Y'all suck.
Oh, because I'm talking about in 2016. That was the year that we actually made that jump to being a contender. That's when DeMar DeRozan became an All-NBA caliber player. I mean, we can talk about 2014 and 2015. We can talk about that if you want.
Player. All he did was score 20 plus points and didn't do nothing else. That's all he did. He didn't elevate his game.
That's not the same.
He was the same dude.
He did what? So DeMar DeRozan made no improvements as 2016, 17, and 18 came around. No improvements.
He was a scorer. He didn't affect the game on the court at all besides scoring.
That's not true. But
and he always did that.
That's also not true. Do you think DeMar's still that same player? He only scores and nothing else?
That's all he
that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Because DeMar DeRozan can at least pass and play make. So, but Carmelo Anthony can't do that.
Carmelo Anthony, he did do that. They ain't neither one of them boys averaging no 15 assists a game.
Carmelo Anthony,
the same damn player.
Who averages 15 assists a game? Thomas?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Neither one of them were special at passing the ball. That's what I'm saying.
So I would say at least DeMar DeRozan's good at it. Carmelo Anthony is horrible at it. That's the difference between those two guys.
DeMar is not a good passer. He's just a scorer who passed the ball to somebody open.
No, that's not true. He's a good passer. I think he's a good passer.
James Harden is a good passer.
Especially when you look at James Harden is an elite passer. That's an all-time great passer is James Harden.
Oh, yeah,
DeMar DeRozan's a good passer. DeMar DeRozan's a good passer, I think. He's a solid playmaker. Carmelo Anthony was a horrible playmaker.
He's a bad passer.
My whole point is I'm not saying this team goes too far in the playoffs, but at that time in January and February, the Toronto Raptors still would have been a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. You can't tell me that they wouldn't be, or you can't prove to me that they wouldn't be, because in that season.
Never said that.
Okay. I didn't say they would. So they would still be a top 3 seed in the East, top 2 seed in the East, right? The Toronto Raptors still would have been looked at as a contender. They still would have been looked at as that because they were looked at as contenders. They were looked at as contenders the 2 years before that. So why were the Raptors?
No, they wasn't.
They were though, but they were. So in 2018, teams. So in 2018, people saying the Raptors. So in 2018, when the Raptors were a 59-win team, there was nobody saying that there was a chance they can come out the East.
No,
nobody was saying that.
Y'all was the laughing stock. Y'all was the laughing stock of the NBA. The laughing stock.
Thomas.
Not just an overlooked team. They was laughing at these motherfuckers. They were laughing at the Raptors after 2018, but before the 2018 playoffs started, people were picking them to come out of the East. People were taking them seriously at that point in time. Then when you go to the very next year when LeBron's no longer there and people were saying the Eastern Conference is so much more wide open to everybody now, people would look at as the Raptors as maybe this is finally their year. I don't think it would have been because I don't think they beat Philly or Milwaukee. Well, there's a lot of stupid people in the world, so you might have.
But they still get Marc Gasol. They still trade for him.
No,
I mean the Raptors.
I don't believe it at all.
Well, then you just don't know how business works, I guess.
Because the man said out his own words, he said, I was looking to go somewhere to contend, and that's also why he went to LeBron and the Lakers after that too. Why did he stay?
Guess what? The Raptors would have been viewed as contenders.
Demar Derozan and the Spurs, who had Popovich and Kawhi, had him whooping everybody's ass in the playoffs. He could have went there.
Because the Spurs weren't a contending team.
Right, because Kawhi went there. There you go. Exactly. He went to LeBron.
No, also because they also lost Danny Green. They also lost a lot of the other older veteran players that were still good. They lost those guys. They weren't on the team anymore. And they had brought in a whole bunch of new young guys. That Spurs team wasn't just, we lost Kawhi. And, they still had Lamar Aldridge there.
They had Aldridge.
They had Aldridge and who else? They had Aldridge and who else?
They had DeJounte.
And who else? DeJounte was a rookie. DeJounte Murray barely played as a rookie. So who else?
He was sophomore.
Or a sophomore. He was a sophomore. Right. He was still a sophomore player. He wasn't the DeJounte Murray we all know today. So who else?
Right. You know what you're doing? You're showing how great Kawhi is.
What am I doing? I'm showing that the Spurs lost. The Spurs lost.
And beat the brakes off them fuckers till he got hurt. We're the same team you talking about.
It's not the same team. It's not the same team. It's not the same team. You're lying about that.
And DeJounte was younger than he was when DeRozan was there. That too.
It's not the same team. It's not the same team.
It's the same team.
So if I look at that, it's not the same team. So if I look at the 20,
y'all took that damn. Who's the guy that went in the trade? We went with DeRozan. You put somebody with him.
Jacob Portal.
It was Jakob Portal.
Yeah. Okay. You took Portal.
So the Toronto Raptors
took them all over there.
So on the Toronto Raptors,
Danny Green. Danny Green didn't mean
that's
shit.
Not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. If we compare the 20, that's not it. If we look at the 2019 San Antonio Spurs, if we look at the 2019 San Antonio Spurs, and we look at the 2017 San Antonio Spurs, we will see that the rosters were quite different. They were quite different. So actually, if we look at it, so in 2017, So in 2017,
So
that team
let's
still
look at-
had.
Put the roster on the screen, P5. Share your screen.
I am.
The only thing that matters is DeMar DeRozan, DeJounte Murray, and LaMarcus Aldridge, and they was there. That's all that matters. All the other nonsense.
Okay, so in 2018-19,
no,
you're not getting away from this.
Speaking of, Kawhi was killing motherfuckers with that. Kawhi was killing them motherfuckers.
So in 2018, 2019, so in 2018-2019, you had LaMarcus Aldridge there. You had DeMar DeRozan there. That was their two top guys.
Right.
By the way, 30.
You make the playoffs. You make the playoffs off those two. By the way, go ahead. Keep going.
By the way, a 33-year-old LaMarcus Aldridge. You had a 32-year-old Rudy Gay, who was giving you 14 a game.
He still was killing Golden State. Go ahead.
This is 2019, by the way. This is 2019.
Right.
We're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about Rudy Gay. We're talking about Bryn Forbes, Marco Bellinelli, Derek White.
That Rudy Gay, by the way. That Rudy Gay can play ball.
Derek White, Patty Mills. So this team is not good.
Patty Mills was hooping.
It's not a good team. It's a team with DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus.
I'm not saying they're great, people.
So then we move on to 2017.
The difference is Kawhi.
We move on to 2017.
That's the difference.
We move on to 2017. Look at the per game numbers here. You still have Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge. You have Pau Gasol, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili's still there, Patty Mills is still there, Danny Green is still there. It's a completely different roster. It's a different roster. You have to give me that. It's a different roster.
Tony Parker. What did Tony Parker?
Now they were old.
Exactly.
Well, Tony Parker was.
Why did DeMar?
Yeah, they were old. Why did DeMar? They were old.
He can't.
Oh well, because he's not because he's not as good as Kawhi Leonard.
Exactly.
Do you think my whole point is arguing who's Kawhi Leonard and who's not? Is that my whole argument? Do you think that's what it is?
No, the whole argument is you have no argument. That's the point.
I'm not okay, Thomas. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I agree with you that the Toronto Raptors do not win a championship without DeMar DeRozan or without Kawhi Leonard. I agree with you that the Toronto Raptors or that DeMar DeRozan is not as good as Kawhi Leonard or as good of a floor or ceiling raiser as Kawhi Leonard. I agree with you on those things. I disagree with you on how good the Raptors would have been in 2019 with DeMar. That team still would have been a top 2 seed in the East. They still would have gone to the second round, and they still would have been competitive, and they still would have been able to pull off any trade they wanted to because they were still viewed as one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference.
Put up the top teams that year.
Of the East?
Yeah, put up top teams that year.
The 2019 NBA standings. So in 2019, this is the Eastern. This is the standings in the Eastern Conference.
Give me the teams. Give me the name of the team. Because they got to play these teams all year long. These teams were a lot better than what the shit they was playing.
Okay, so the Bucks were a 60-win team, right? The Bucks were a 60-win team. We have the Raptors. They were a 58-win team with Kawhi. I think they still finished around the same win total with DeMar. You have the Philadelphia.
What was the record with DeMar? What was the record with DeMar?
The year before?
Yeah, what was the record the year before with DeMar?
They
got to play these teams.
They were a 59-win team with DeMar the year before.
Okay.
Yeah. They were a 59-win team. So I think in 2019 with DeMar, they still finished around 58-ish wins. Then you have the Philadelphia 76ers, who were 7 games behind them. They were a 51-win team. Then you have Boston, who was a 49-win team. Indiana, who was a 48-win team. Brooklyn, who was a 42-win team.
Who was on that Boston team?
It was sophomore Jalen. Oh no, it was third-year Jalen Brown, sophomore Jason Tatum. They still had Al Horford, Marcus Smart. They had Kyrie on the team still. Gordon Hayward, when he was like past whatever you thought Gordon Hayward was, that was post legendary Gordon Hayward.
Kyrie on the team, I might have would have helped y'all out. Y'all might have been able to beat him with Kyrie on the team.
Well, I mean, Boston had a pretty bad year when you compare it to what their expectations were because of Kyrie and the chemistry issues they had going on.
That's what I'm saying. I will say they can beat them because with Kyrie over there. But they went to the finals without that same team went to the finals without Kyrie.
Eastern Conference Finals. 42 win Brooklyn, 42 win Magic, and the 42 win Magic is who the Raptors played in round 1 with Kawhi. They beat them in 5. And then they had the Pistons, who were a 41 win team. They were the 8th seed.
Yeah, I ain't worried about the other teams. I'm worried about the top teams over there. Because they wasn't beating the 76ers with DeMar. They wasn't beating the Bucks with DeMar. But the Celtics, I might throw you that one if
they're beating everybody else. They're beating it. They're still beating the Magic in like 5, maybe 6 games, and then they're pushing Philadelphia to 6 or 7.
They might have got out the first round, but they're not pushing the 76ers at all. But because Kawhi was causing, Kawhi was making Ben Simmons turn the fucking ball over with like 7 or 8 fucking turnovers in that damn series. I
don't think that was the case. I just think that Ben Simmons in the playoffs. I don't think that's the case. I mean, we're talking about Ben Simmons here. I mean, Ben Simmons against anybody in the playoffs wasn't good. Ben Simmons was never good in the playoffs. So I mean,
well, but he's not turning the ball over those 7 or 8 times just because DeMar Derozan on the court. That's what's not going to happen.
And he's still going to be a complete negative on the court, though. He still would be a complete negative, especially in crunch time. He would be a complete negative.
Well, yeah.
So I think the Raptors,
Jimmy Butler and Embiid to do that.
So I think the Raptors that year. So I think they would have had Marc Gasol still. They still would have had Marc Gasol.
I don't believe that.
I guess you can believe whatever you want. So Toronto still would have been a 57, 58, 59 win team. I know that they would have with DeMar because
they still would have went home. And they still would have went home versus 76 in the Bucks, which is what I said the whole time.
And I think they beat. And that's what I've been saying the whole time. So I don't even know why we're arguing this because my whole thing was they still get Marc Gasol, but they beat the Magic in 5 and 6 still.
Yeah, that was your argument right there.
They beat the Magic. They beat the Magic, and then against the 76ers, I think because they still have Marc Gasol, they pushed them to 6 or 7, and then who knows what can happen. And then they play the Bucks.
Going 7 games versus Embiid,
and then they play the Bucks against Embiid. Embiid was bad in that series because they had Marc Gasol, and Marc Gasol was still
He was bad in that series because Kawhi was also on the court with Marc Gasol. That's the point.
Oh my God! So now Kawhi was guarding. So now Kawhi was guarding Joel Embiid.
No, that's not the point. Kawhi makes the whole floor defensively raised by about 8 notches. That's the difference.
That team defensively without Kawhi was still great.
The same team that couldn't stop fucking Giannis with Pascal on him, which is the same team defense.
We're not talking about Giannis. We're not talking about Giannis. We're talking about Embiid.
That's the same team, though. That's the same team.
No, but we're talking about 2 completely different players and play styles. We're talking about Joel Embiid.
No, I'm talking about the Raptors. I'm talking about the Raptors defense that year.
I know, and you're talking about
that was getting annihilated
by Giannis. We're not talking about Giannis. We're talking about Embiid. We're talking about Embiid.
So you think because you're from Toronto, you think that Kawhi didn't raise that team defensively by about 4 notches.
He did. He did.
Gasol's job becomes a lot harder without Kawhi. That's what I'm telling you. Just because he ain't on Embiid.
And guess what?
Don't mean he don't raise the fucking floor by 4 or 5 notches.
I didn't say he didn't. I didn't say he didn't. But I'm still saying Joel Embiid, I think, still would have struggled in that series because he was dealing with also sicknesses or like stomach stuff, and he was injured a little bit.
It wasn't wrong with him. He was calling out sick because he was a damn pussy.
I guess. And then Marc Gasol doesn't need Kawhi Leonard to be able to contain Embiid. He doesn't need him to do that. It helps. He doesn't need him though. That team still would have been great defensively. Granted, with what you were talking about about Milwaukee, if the Raptors were to play Milwaukee, they're getting swept. Giannis and the Bucks sweep the Raptors if without Kawhi over there. I agree with you there. The Raptors are getting swept. Against the Sixers, that series is still against the Sixers. That series is still competitive. It's a competitive series.
It might go 5. I give you 5. He's not going no 6 or 7. Fuck no.
It'll go 6-7. It would go 6 or 7 games.
Hell, fuck no. Because Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons was getting guarded by Kawhi Leonard like every other possession, which would allow the Raptors to even hang around in the fucking series. That's the only reason they hung around. He was giving Butler fits, and at the same time giving Ben Simmons fits. There's like every other fucking play, he was bouncing off them motherfuckers. Nobody else is doing that. Who gonna do it?
Turn right on Salmons Road.
A team can scheme around having Ben Simmons on the floor. A team can scheme around that. Nick Nurse is a good enough coach to where he can scheme Ben Simmons out of the Sixer offense. He can scheme him out of that. Jimmy Butler might be a bigger problem, and Jimmy Butler is actually the reason why.
So let me ask you this. With Ben Simmons getting 6, 7, 8 fucking turnovers, 5 turnovers in all these games, right? With the series going that long, if Kawhi ain't on the court, Ben Simmons does not turn the ball over like that. That shortens the series. Yes or no?
But I'm saying Ben Simmons is still going to be a net negative on the court offensively. He's still going to be a negative.
But it ain't going to be like when Kawhi was on the court forcing all them fucking turnovers. Go look at the turnovers.
It's not going to look the exact same. But it's still the result would still be the same though. Ben Simmons still would not be good. He would still be ineffective.
He would be better than he was versus them. But I'm gonna let you and BJ over the hold on, people. I need to say goodbye. I'm gonna let you and BJ finish up. I'm about to get loaded. BJ, I'm pulling up. If y'all still here when I get back on, I'll hit you back.
For sure.
Yeah, we still.
All right, P5. BJ, I got to get loaded.
Oh, you good? All right, so P5, what was the best year you think the Raptors had a chance to get to the finals?
The best year they had a chance was in 2018, but they got swept by LeBron. So I mean, that was their best chance because that year, that was by far the worst team LeBron ever had. Yet they still couldn't win, right? And you know, it's tough in 2018. It's just tough. I think Kyle Lowry was dealing with some injury stuff. Serge Ibaka was dealing with certain injury stuff. And DeMar just didn't step up. I think that was their best chance to win a championship, though.
Okay.
That was their best chance.
Now, how's the city of Toronto feel about Kawhi and DeMar, that trade to this day?
Well, I don't know because I'm not from Toronto. I'm in Texas. But if I had to guess, or like what I've heard about people say about that, because I am in Raptor communities at least, and the people that I talk to in those communities, they still love DeMar. They love DeMar Derozan. They love him because of what he did for that country and what he did for the culture of that country when it came to basketball. Do they regret trading DeMar? No, they do not. They also love Kawhi Leonard because, of course, he brought them a championship, or he brought us a championship, right? So people don't regret it. People are so sad that we couldn't do it without DeMar. People are sad that we couldn't do it with him. But people still love DeMar and they love Kawhi. They love them both.
Where does this whole notion come from? They could have won without Kawhi. Does this? I don't remember DeMar DeRozan. Well, he kind of did say it after he left, but do you think it was just more out of emotion, or does he really feel like he could have won without? He could have been there if he would have won.
Maybe a mixture of both. Because I think DeMar truly in himself, and I love this about DeMar, he's competitive. DeMar DeRozan is a very high level competitor. DeMar DeRozan, I think, truly does believe that they could have won with him in 2019, especially since LeBron wasn't there anymore. I think he truly believes that. Also, it might be a little bit of emotion because I think DeMar to this day still feels a certain type of way about him getting traded and not being told about it or being let in on it. I don't think he ever wanted to leave Toronto. He never did. He said he never wanted to leave Toronto. So it's a little bit of emotion, but I think as a competitor, like the competitive side of DeMar, which I love, he truly does believe they could have won with him. And I respect him for that. I respect him. I don't call him delusional for it. I don't call him dumb for it. I respect him for it. I just disagree with him. That's it. And I wish we could, because like I said, DeMar's the guy that got me into this whole basketball thing anyway. So it's tough.
So you're not from Toronto. You just a Raptor fan.
I'm just a Raptor fan. Yeah. Give me one moment, BJ. Give me one moment.
All right. What's happening, Dorillis? You on mute, Dorillis.
My fault, BJ. Was good.
It was good. Was good. Was good.
Yeah, P5. Hey, I just got a question for P5. If LeBron didn't leave the East, Kawhi go out there to the East, you think he can take down Cleveland?
Oh, he stepped away.
Yeah. No, I'm here. I'm back. I think that 2019 Raptor team with Kawhi 1000% beats the 20. Well, are you just talking about like the 2019 Cavs plus LeBron?
I'm saying exactly. So LeBron never leave the East, but Kawhi goes to the East, right? Same team. Do you think Kawhi beat LeBron and his team?
Yes, he does.
All right, then. See, that's it. See, that's why we just told Demar Derozan. See, Kawhi ain't worried about LeBron. DeMar DeRozan is worried about fucking LeBron. Like I say, man, that shit was a joke. We know what was the real shit behind that shit. That was Stephen A. trying to put that bullshit out of there. Put that bullshit out there. And like I say, like Thomas said, man, you know, it's good for BJ, you know, to talk about it, for, you know, for his channel. But man, come on, man. DeMar DeRozan is a fucking joke, man. You a joke. Because, but you didn't even say that shit. Oh, LeBron, he was in our way. That's some weak shit. Some weak shit. Kawhi would have went out there and took down LeBron. See the difference?
I
That's why when I seen that shit, I say that's some Stephen A. bullshit, man.
I mean, I don't really care. I mean, if DeMar feels like he couldn't beat LeBron, I mean, I think a lot of people feel like that. Paul George is one of them as well that has publicly said that. So I mean, I don't want to disrespect DeMar because he said that. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is at that point. It is what it is. Do I think that 2019 Raptors team with DeMar could beat LeBron? Yes, I do. I think that 2019 Raptor team with DeMar would have been able to beat the Cavs as well. I believe that. But, you know, it is what it is.
Man. But you look at the ceiling, though, P5, that Kawhi raises into the playoffs to what DeMar raises. That's my biggest thing. Like, he raises his game to a different level that I don't think DeMar just can touch. And that's why I feel like it's more the problem with him more than his team.
Wait a minute.
DeMar is not a
beat LeBron.
DeMar is just not a 1A. The Raptors were a championship team. Like, that Raptor team around DeMar was championship worthy, right? Mm-hmm. But the problem is DeMar DeRozan just wasn't a championship number one. If DeMar played with Kawhi and you take Kyle Lowry out of the equation, then yeah, I think DeMar could have won with Kawhi. But DeMar winning with Kyle Lowry, like, I just don't think that would have ever worked because DeMar is just not a championship 1A caliber player. Kawhi is. That's where the problem comes in. That's why I think that Raptor team with DeMar still gets far with him, but they don't win, unfortunately, which sucks. I wish we could have won with DeMar. I still hope we can win with DeMar. I want DeMar to ring chase with us when we're a really good team, hopefully, and we can win a championship with him on the roster. But, you know, it is what it is. We just couldn't win with him as the best player. And that's kind of what it comes down to. Mm. And it's sad because I love DeMar DeRozan. I still love DeMar DeRozan. But, you know, it is what it is.
So is he kind of like DeMar, like the most beloved Raptor?
He's the most – it's either him or Kyle Lowry. Him and Kyle Lowry are the two most beloved Raptors ever. I mean, some older people still love Vince Carter, but in kind of my generation, right, people would say Kyle Lowry or DeMar DeRozan. Yes. People would still say Kyle Lowry or DeMar. Those are the two most beloved Raptors in basketball history. Or Raptors, I think.
So they wanted the guy that got a ring.
Some people would say Kawhi, but the majority will say DeMar and Kyle Lowry. The majority, but some people would say Kawhi. I think some people are upset at Kawhi because he left, but they still appreciate his time there. People love DeMar and Kyle Lowry because they were there for so long, and you know, whether you want to believe it or not, Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan did lead us to the most successful stretch the Raptors have ever seen. The most successful stretch of time. That was the most success we had ever seen as a basketball team, and it was led by Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. The pinnacle of it was led by Kawhi and Kyle Lowry, but the stretch and what got basketball more popular in Toronto more than ever since Vince Carter was DeMar and Kyle Lowry. So, yeah, like if you ask people, or even if you ask me, who the greatest Raptor of all time is, I would tell you Kyle. I would tell you Kyle Lowry. I would tell you Kyle Lowry, and then Kawhi or DeMar would fall into that second or third, and then Vince Carter. But I would tell you Kyle Lowry is the greatest Raptor ever. That's what I would tell you, and that's what most people would tell you, I think, or most Raptor fans would tell you. So, yeah, that's me. That's just me, though.
Well, that's interesting, man. You been to a Raptor game before, P5?
I've been to a Raptor game before. I still remember. I went to the Raptors versus Cavaliers. It was actually a opening night. I went to the Raptors Cavalier game in 2019. It was Kawhi Leonard's Raptor debut. I went to that game, and it's electric. It's awesome. I also went to I'm in the Texas area. I went to a Raptors versus Mavericks just last season, and we lost, but you know, it is what it is.
Oh, you in?
Or was that the year before? Well, I'm like 3 hours away from Dallas. I'm 3 hours away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
What you feel like?
They
What do you feel like?
they could have been
What do
the
you feel like
greatest
DeMar gonna do?
Raptor.
Go ahead.
Hey,
Go
they
ahead.
could have been the greatest Toronto player that put on that jersey, but Big Dog came and got them a championship. So I don't even give a fuck about all of that, man. Big Dog came and you see what Kyle Lowry said. Big Dog. We follow Big Dog. He ain't calling DeMar DeRozan Big Dog. That mentally weak motherfucker. he wasn't gonna do nothing, man. He wasn't gonna, and like I said last night, BJ, if he got past Philly, they weren't gonna get past Milwaukee. Giannis was gonna have a field day with that boy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And
Yeah, I
then
don't
if he
think they
got
would've
past
won.
Milwaukee, they weren't gonna beat Golden State.
Nah, I don't think so. That's what people forget. Golden State, Steph put out some players without KD, and Draymond was playing like trash. So Kawhi wasn't one of them.
But Draymond would have mentally got into them boys' head though. Talking about Toronto, he would have mentally gotten to them boys' head. Come on, man. Like I said, the shit is a joke, man. The shit is a joke. The shit is a joke, BJ.
Hey, does Kawhi get a statue in Toronto, P5?
I would say his jersey should get retired in Toronto. I don't know if he should get a statue. I think Kyle Lowry is the only player worthy of a statue in Toronto, or him or Vince Carter.
They wouldn't do that, BJ. They wouldn't do that.
Because they are giving Kyle Lowry a statue. Like a Kyle Lowry statue is happening. Like they're going to do it.
Nah,
they've already said they're doing it.
Yeah, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna give Kawhi that.
Should Kawhi get a statue? I do not think he should. He should get his jersey retired, though.
Yeah.
He should get his jersey retired. Like number 2, number 10, number 7, and Vince Carter's number should be the only Raptors numbers that are retired.
Right. Yeah, that'll be a little.
They give Kawhi a statue. Right. I think DeMar deserves a statue over Kawhi.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a player can stay in one place for 1 year.
Yeah.
And get a statue, no matter what the success level was. If that makes sense.
See, they just call that a fluke. You see what I'm saying? Oh, he lucked up. Everything went his way, and he won and left. So yeah, you wouldn't give him that. So I can't argue against that. Yeah, he ain't gonna get that now.
But yeah, Kyle Lowry, Vince
He
Carter should be
stayed
the only
and
one getting
won
statues
like
in Toronto.
multiple championships. Yeah, you got to give him one.
Oh yeah, of course. If Kawhi wins multiple with the Raptors, then yeah. Or even if he just stay, like if he signs a max with us and stays a Raptor for the next like 3 years, 4 years, then yeah, sure, give him a statue, depending on how healthy he is and how he plays in the playoffs, especially. But yeah, I mean, sure. But right now, no. Kyle Lowry, Vince Carter should be the only ones getting statues in Toronto. Hopefully, one day Scotty Barnes can play that well and get a statue too, though. Hopefully. But yeah, Kyle Lowry's going to be the only Raptor with a statue. I believe. BJ, I'm gonna have to head out though, bro. Keep it easy, game. Nice combo.
My bad, y'all. Like I signed out, stepped out for a minute. Let's see. He said that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard because of prime Vince Carter. Would I play with Kyle Lowry? They would have been some. I mean, maybe. But he's another one. Vince Carter couldn't get past the second round. He was getting beat. Never getting to the conference final. I don't think he ever made it to the conference finals. So, I mean, it's a good discussion, man. But like I said, man, I don't think this really holds any weight. I don't think that really you can compare DeMar DeRozan to a Kawhi Leonard. And I'm confused of how much people kind of keep disrespecting his legacy as if that championship was not worth anything, as that championship was not a championship that, was one of the best runs of all time, top 3 in scoring in the playoffs of all time, points playoffs played, but also giving it to you on the defensive end. Like, that's the difference. Like, it's one thing for me to be an offensive juggernaut, but defensively for me to go over on the other side and take advantage is another animal. That's what he did. So, DeMar just, like I think P5 said, was a little bit in his emotions and feelings. I don't think he wants to say that off of disrespecting Kawhi. I just think that he just like really wish he wouldn't have, got pushed out of Toronto because he had an emotional connection. Emotional connection to that team. Yep, on one leg. Yep, exactly. One leg. I keep forgetting that too. One leg, this man's doing all this shit. So I don't know. The real question is he gonna get a championship for us now? You won a championship in Toronto. You won a championship with the Spurs. Now it's time to get a championship with the Clippers. So we have to see if that happens. And based off of his injury history and what's at stake and his age, he's not old, but he's not super young. He's 33. So it's time is to win is now. It's time to win championship is now. You know what I'm saying? So they got to decide what we're gonna do. Shit, he said we'll make sure you put Vince Carter and DeMar DeRozan in the same box. See how stupid y'all sound. Neither guy won anything. I mean, Kawhi has kept. DeMar was more of a successful career than Vince. I mean, Vince just had the longevity and he had the highlights and all that. But as far as winning and being competitive, I mean, you could say DeMar and P5 said it, like through a 4 or 5 year stretch, they were getting, 1-2 seeds in the Eastern Conference and, things of that nature. Like Vince wasn't consistently doing that. Vince was getting, put out and not being, switching from team to team, going from, Toronto to, New Jersey to Orlando to Dallas to the Hawks to, Memphis. Like he just going to all these different teams when this guy, DeMar, has able to at least maintain some stability and build something in the city. So it's a little different, I think Vince Carter is another one. His career is a little overrated. But I will be having a guest tonight. I will be actually playing. I'll have a video for tomorrow that you guys will be able to see. I have an interview I'm about to get up to in the next few hours. So unless y'all don't want to come in, man, I'm going to go ahead and shut this live down. I hope that y'all enjoyed this live. I hope that you guys continuously please share the podcast with your family and friends. Please hit that like button. Hit the share, subscribe to the CASHAPP, all that good stuff. Let's see. He said Kawhi should just retire and win championship and nothing else. No, I don't think he's going to retire. It's nothing unless you have to pretty much carry him out. But he's showing you he's still a top elite player. It's just, getting, he's having to sit out at the wrong time. I mean, it is what it is. But nah, he's not. He's 33, he's in his prime, man. He's not like averaging 10 points or 15 points. He's averaging in the mid to, high 20s and, the low 30s. So it's a lot of game he still has left. It's just, guys just got to knock on wood that he's healthy. But we'll see y'all next time. Until next time, we say pull up, see, pull up, triple live. Peace. Out of here, like swim well.
Wow.
I've been all around the world, Japan to Amsterdam. Meals nutritious, lifestyle was vicious, yeah. While these out here tried to hate mine, yet I still stood tall on the main line. Two-step, throwing up their gang sign. Roll around the city, big chain, but he ain't signed. Y'all fake tough, little puffs to my canines. Don't forget cracking at them hit boy parties. Probably got your girl naked at them hit boy parties. Big chains, big flexing at them hit boy parties. Nobody trip, cause they knew I had that big boy on me. Yeah, gang of fast living, addicted to cash getting. Disrespected to getting the ass whipped. Don't call yourself a baller unless your whole clan get. Plan you got you ain't working, then you need to plan different.
This on west side over everything. Yeah, this on west side over everything. Yeah, this on west side over everything. Yeah, this on west side over everything.
Yeah, no need for blocks out. Baby got her box out. Just dropped her man, now she looking for that knockout. He did her wrong and he tried to shame, baby. She was trying to bounce back, so don't blame, baby. Cause it kick her up, one time fuck her up. A true big homie, I don't hear his name enough. Went through the real movie while y'all snowed on the bluff. Gotta give it up, big homie did his stuff. Now it's all about the bag play. Been around more smoke than an ashtray. Right cheek, left cheek, let her ass shake. On God, I'm 100 till my last day. West side, east side, yeah, I'm both for that. No talking, take off, bro, I'm known for that. 50 M's on the scales, yeah, I'm close to that. Yeah, you on the same mission, yeah, I'm hoping that. Make the money overlap.
This on west side over everything. Yeah, this
It's on west side over everything. Hey, hey, it's on west side over everything. Yeah, it's on west side over everything. Throw it up, 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 throw it up. Yeah, that's a lot. Hey, homies. Yeah, 3-2-3s, 2-1-3s, 3-1-0s, 4-2-4s. Hey, 8-1-8. Yeah, what we missing? 5-6-2s, I see. Hey, yeah. Give it up. Hey, give it up. Hey, give it up. Battle Cat. Holla. That nigga Dom Kennedy. Yeah. Gotta love that. Yeah. Corrupt. We love you too.